All right, we're talking Clone Wars. Star Wars, The Clone Wars, episode 5? We done 5 of these now?
Yeah, 5.
Wow, it's
Just
kind
to
of
think we
crazy.
were in the office together very recently. Isn't that nuts?
We are no longer doing these in our office. Obviously,
Why not?
This is the quarantine Clone Wars breakdown. Tough. I don't know. So we asked this question. We have our other coworker, John Feidelberg, is doing Westworld breakdowns. There are less episodes in the Clone Wars, and there are less weeks left. Robbie, do you think we're going to be in the office for any more of these?
Oh, good question. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say I don't think so.
I think we finish out Clone Wars from home. I think this is now a quarantine series.
I think it's got to be. But you know what? It's one of those series where I feel like we're now at the point in quarantine zone where I wish they just put it all out at once. I wish they just did it.
Right.
Yeah, I thought about that this morning. I don't see them doing it, but I imagine it's come up, right? Like
the conversation.
Oh, we just lost KenJac.
Oh no, did we?
Oh, there he is. He's back.
Oh, back.
Okay,
yeah,
back.
and I think that conversation just definitely had to have been had already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've definitely discussed it. So we're quarantined. We're just doing robes, saying I got a Lion King Disney shill. I'm wearing the same thing every time. And I think for all these videos, we're just going to go with the same
I think
thing.
I wore this in the last one we did too, which buy a shirt or something. But
doesn't matter.
Listen, it's quarantine life. The world's ending. It doesn't matter what the fuck we're wearing.
It is. World ending in Star Wars too. We're nearing episode 3 timeline for the Clone Wars. Initial thoughts on the episode. First time we've seen Ahsoka Tano. I didn't love this episode. I'll be honest. I thought this episode was fun in some parts, super Easter eggy. You can really fanboy out with this episode. There were a couple things I was like, oh shit. And one huge reference that is very cool, which might be a sign of things to come. We'll see. Or it could just been a fun Dave Filoni reference. He knows how to do that. I think I enjoyed it, but definitely not my favorite that we've had so far this season. I thought it was definitely more setup and filler, and I wish the setup with Ahsoka would have been a little heavier, I guess. I don't know. That's just how I felt coming right out of it.
I liked it. I thought it felt very cinematic, especially compared to the Bad Batch episodes. When we opened on Ahsoka and it was kind of just her on that bike right after she abandons the Jedi Order, I was like, oh shit, we're like back in the Clone Wars now. This is sort of the main storyline of the Clone Wars. And I know we had a little Anakin, we had a little Obi-Wan in the last one, but it feels like we're back on track. It feels like we've gotten through the appetizer that was the Bad Batch. I did enjoy this episode. I could see why you wouldn't, or not that you wouldn't enjoy the episode, that you didn't enjoy it, just that it was okay because, I don't know, not a ton happened. This is a common theme with these videos that we're doing now. Because of the structure of the show, the 30-minute structure, every time I'm kind of like, oh, I wish there was more.
Yeah. Yep.
For sure. Yeah, I think it was good, mostly because I think it's kind of good to get back to basics, kind of devolve the world a little bit more because we're on this big scale and these huge battles in the last few episodes. And this kind of getting back into like small scale, more conversations, more relationships and stuff like that. And I think that's something that has always been a strength of Clone Wars, and it's good to see them, go back to that.
Yeah, it is. It's very character developed to character based, which is good. Again, I enjoyed it, but I think it's also it's a weird like step away from what we got with, say, the Bad Batch, where it is really action packed. So it's a much less action packed episode. There are some action scenes, and it's kind of a reset of sorts. It works. I don't know. I just think not my exact favorite, but it looks fucking fantastic. There's a couple shots that even just like the way, like the rolling focus of the camera a little bit, again, these are all directed really well, and it's impressive animation. Like it truly leaps off the screen. It's fun to watch.
I wonder timeline-wise when they did this. I wonder if Dave Filoni went and did The Mandalorian, got a little, some directorial chops, and then came back to the Clone Wars and kind of put his new touches on it like that, or if they did Clone Wars before Mandalorian. I don't know.
It could have been the case, yeah. No, that very well could have been what he did, because you're right. He stepped into that live action world and probably learned some new techniques, might be paying off. And he's somebody who pulls from a lot of different things as well. He likes nods. He likes that type of stuff, which is always fun to watch. All right, let's break down the episode. Moral of the episode: if there is no path before you, create your own. Pretty self-explanatory. Ahsoka, the pre-roll tease thing. They talk about how she left the Jedi Order. She's no longer a part of that, finding a new life. So that makes complete sense. She's in the underworld of Coruscant, which is a thing that's been teased before in Star Wars material unrealized material. We'll get to that in Easter eggs. There's a huge connection to something that never happened with Star Wars that was planned for a while. So she's in the underworld of Coruscant. Her bike's breaking down, and she lands on a platform. She lands on a platform, this huge underworld, like the whole tunnel.
It's awesome. It's really cool looking. It looks almost like they drilled a fucking colossally big hole into the world of Coruscant. We've seen this before, which we'll touch on later. Like you said, we've seen like glimpses of the underworld of Coruscant before. It's always very cool. And by the way, oh my God, is it hard to drive in Star Wars, and very dangerous as well. As soon as Ahsoka's bike went awry, it was like she was going to fall 1,000 feet to her death.
It looks like one of those like traffic cams from like Bombay or something, or somewhere in India, where it's like, you know, like little bikes like weaving between like giant trucks and stuff. It's crazy.
I know they go in lines in Coruscant and they're all like organized, but there's really no rules of the road. They're really.
I think the upper world is pretty organized, but it looks like the lower levels of Coruscant are very chaotic.
Yeah, it's a complete fucking nightmare. So she lands on that platform. She meets Trace, new character. Trace says she can stay as long as she pays. She needs to pay to fix the bike. She's like, you can stay or you just got to pay. And it seems like everyone's really struggling down there. We'll kind of dip into like the struggle of people in the underworld because they make that pretty clear. One note though, Ahsoka drags her speeder bike into the shop. I guess she doesn't want to show that she's a Jedi, but that's got to be frustrating because she was struggling. She just lift that thing right up.
Yeah, I mean, we saw more of that later on where she was very much struggling not to show that she was a Jedi. It reminded me of the beginning of Fallen Order when we see, like, him trying to, hold back a little bit.
Well, a big part of it...
saving that guy,
Yeah, a big part of it is she doesn't trust the Jedi. Does Trace. She mentions, like, she wants to get out of there, get away from the Jedi, get away from the war. And that's kind of a reminder that it's not really perfect for everyone, right? Like, you have people like Chancellor Valorum, right? Or the Trade Federation. We just did a live watch of Phantom Menace, and you're reminded that like the Trade Federation has a seat in the Senate in Star Wars. And they're not a planet, but that just shows the corruption of the Republic. So while things get a lot worse, they're definitely not great for everyone where we're currently standing in Star Wars. So it's kind of a good reminder of that, it shows that they can explore so much more. They're in the shop kind of talking back and forth. More, again, character building, talking about fixing a bike, needing credits, all this. And this alien walks in. Pintu comes in. Brand new species. There's no real species for it.
I loved him.
Asking
Love
Trace
the look of him.
Do you know who did the voice?
No.
I'm not going to tell you. Don't look it up.
All right.
It's going to come in Easter eggs. It's
I
somebody
don't feel like I heard him talk enough. Damn, but now I want to know.
Okay, think about it, and then we'll give you a guess at the end. That's okay. Well, wait. It's an Easter egg. And I actually have a funny story connected to that. She gets attacked by his alien goons. They look like Monsters, Inc.'s monsters, right?
They do, yeah.
The one eye.
Slenderman.
He looked like a relative of
Crab.
Admiral Akbar.
Zoidberg.
Huh, yeah.
Yeah,
I can see that.
He actually Zoidberg was a pretty good comp. Yeah.
Yes.
So the goons attack her. They fight, and then Trace is like, "All right, I need your help." And Ahsoka does a ton of martial art, cool, without lightsaber Jedi moves. And she drops a pretty cool line. She says, "My older brother taught me," reference to Anakin. She's still thinking about Anakin. She still misses her father or brother figure.
That was line of the episode. That's the one that, as soon as that happened, I was sort of like, I think I was like scrolling through Twitter or something and kind of looking up and looking at Twitter. And then as soon as she drops the "my older brother taught me," I like looked up and my eyes started welling. And I was like, oh my God, she's talking about Anakin.
We're going to have more of those moments too, for sure.
Yeah,
we're going to have more of those emotional moments.
No doubt.
They search for Trace's sister after that because Pintu was coming after her sister, Rafa, looking for money. So they kind of fend them off. Ahsoka scares them away. And they go to a laundromat. There's a laundromat now in Star Wars, which is funny. And like, I thought it was cool. I liked it, which makes me a hypocrite because I also hate something on Coruscant in Dex's Diner. It's one of my least favorite things in Star Wars. It just completely takes you out of the movie, I think. So I'm a little hypocritical, but I like the laundromat. I thought that was pretty cool. Because have you ever thought, either of you ever thought in a million years, how do they wash their clothes in Star Wars?
No, I haven't. And I figured they probably, on the planet where Mando's love interest was, wherever that was, they probably do, the old village
they might
style
have had,
we're dunking this, the clotheslines. But on Coruscant, this makes sense. They have to wash their clothes.
Yeah.
How else would they do it? Laundromat.
Yeah, no, it's always cool seeing some stuff like that, like even just food in the Star Wars universe, like basic things that people need to, go about their daily business. You don't usually get it in Star Wars, and it's just cool to see that. At least it wasn't stylized like a 50s diner.
Well, that's
a smart move.
That's a Dave Filoni thing too. I feel like if we ever got Dave Filoni to talk on here, I think I would put money on him confirming this, that he is a fan, right? He makes these things from the perspective of being a fan, and he did this with Mandalorian, and so did Jon Favreau. Is in one of the first things that happens in Mandalorian is that a character pees or says he has to pee. You just don't see that in Star Wars. You don't see, not that I want to see all bathroom stuff, but like it's the little things that fans think of, diehards are like, well, what do they do here? Like, what are like the everyday human things that they do? So it's always neat to see that.
It's going back to even like 1977. Why is blue milk such a crazy thing? We're still talking about they drank blue milk just because it's something a little bit different than what we do. We drink white milk, they drink blue milk. And we're talking about it 40 years later.
She makes a deal with a Twi'leks character to build droids. So clearly she got some shady business deals. She turns to her sister Trey. She's like, can you build droids for me? They begin working on these. They're actually binary load lifters, which is as deep cut original Star Wars as it gets. There's a quote from the first Star Wars. Owen Lars asks C-3PO from the first Star Wars movies.
I have no need for a protocol droid.
Of course you haven't, sir. Not in an environment such as this. That is why I have been programmed.
What I really need is a droid who understands the binary language of moisture evaporators.
Evaporators? Sir, my first job was programming binary load lifters, very similar to your evaporators in most respects.
That, I don't remember really seeing these. I'm sure we have, but that was a crazy one to hear. Like, whoa, binary load lifters. That's in like an OG Star Wars line.
I wonder if Dave Filoni just watches the Star Wars movies with a notebook and just like writes down terms. And he's like, binary load droid. All right, let's put that in the next Clone Wars episode.
We definitely had no idea what they look like, and these things are just giant like space gorillas. Like they're just
cool.
I don't know what use you would have for just this exoskeleton droid tank that would be like in the commercial world. Like what was it supposed to do?
I just love that, again, we get these things that no one really discusses or talks about or sees, or we have seen in mainline stuff. I'm sure you've seen them in video games. I'm sure you've seen them in smaller material, but to see these big things, it's pretty crazy. I'll look it up. When we get the Easter eggs, we'll talk about if we've seen it in other material. Moving on from that, they begin working on them. They're still working on them. They realize that these versions of them are defective, or they were banned or whatever, and they can cause a lot of damage. Sure enough, they have problems. One of them escapes and just starts destroying things. And so they're on the run, chasing those. They have like a forklift speeder. They try to disable it. Ahsoka uses the Force to eventually save Trace because they're able to dismantle and disable a droid, but the thing they were on falls over the edge, and Ahsoka lifts it up using the Force. Trace doesn't see it. She doesn't see it, but people around them, like a small, like little Twi'leks girl, sees it. And so people know, like, oh, shit, that's a Jedi, which is interesting to know, and I'm sure is going to come back into play. But she, again, does hide it from Trace.
There's an awesome moment seeing the little girl look at be like, oh, my God, the Force, because she did that. Like, it was a perfect – the way they animated the double take was flawless. But the whole way they just kept – Ahsoka kept trying to not use the Force to save her. I enjoyed all of that stuff too, because it was like, oh shit, look at all the stuff Ahsoka's learned, where she's like tying up the spool of wire or whatever towards the thing, and she's trying everything she can possibly do in her power not to show her hand.
Well, she's got that willpower, which I like, because you know what it reminds me of? It's like, because she's like, I'm not a Jedi anymore. I'm out of this shit. I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
It's when someone says, I'm logging off. I'm activating my Twitter, right? Like, I'm not coming back on anymore. And then 20 minutes later, they're back on tweeting again. Like, at least we're glad Ahsoka's not that, right? Ahsoka doesn't have that.
She went full Trill Ballins with it. She really retired.
She did. She full on is not coming back to Twitter.
That's one of the better things about this arc, though, right? Or at least so far, it's just like her wanting to escape from the Jedi world, not wanting to use the free the Force at all, and kind of just finding herself. And like that's a cool, I think, introduction to this is her not wanting to be exposed as a Jedi, because I don't think she totally believes in the Jedi being entirely good anymore either.
And remember, again, a big thing is that can these things in Star Wars work without Jedi? And I think we saw Mandalorian very much so, yes. Solo to an extent that they did pop a fucking lightsaber out in the final minutes of Solo. And actually, I didn't love Solo, so I can't even say that. Rogue One was Jedi free up until the end as well, for the most part.
Rogue One's good stuff.
But yeah, so it's always nice to see them try to do things without Jedi. then they talk to Rafa, the sister, again, saying, like, don't do anything with these. I guess you're going to cause you trouble. Turns out, while they're at some, like, food court area in 1313, which I thought was cool. I haven't seen a food court before. She said she made things right, kind of. She got double the money. And she said, look, here's the thing. Like, and Trace explains to Ahsoka, like, she's just trying to make it right for us. She's just trying to help us have a better life. And Rafa says if she didn't build them, someone else would. So it's just like you have to go through. It's like someone else is going to do it. It may as well be us. Again, this shows the tough times in the Republic. Like, no matter what, like Ahsoka might have come from like this lineage of Jedi and it comes from a different world, but she sees like things are bad everywhere. And they need to realize that. And then they leave and they go on to repair Ahsoka's speeder. There's a fucking taxi that flies away. A very Fifth Element looking taxi too.
Yeah.
Very much the vibes from Fifth Element.
Yeah. Other Easter eggs. This is the coolest one, hands down.
So cool.
When the speeder is falling, she almost crashes into 2 ships, and the ships are carrying the 4 original Kenner Cantina characters from Tatooine. Back when the movie came out, Greedo. Well, it's not Greedo, but it looks like
Greedo. It's his species, but in green.
In the outfit, Hammerhead, Walrus Man, and then Snaggletooth. You see
That's your guy.
It's my favorite Star Wars toy story. So those characters are seen in the speeders. A couple of them very briefly, but that is like the original. That is such a great nod to the original movie, the original toys. I fucking love Easter eggs. And they're so quick, and they don't distract at all. Again, it's not like when you had fucking Walrus Man pop up in Rogue One where they're like, I don't like, all right, I mean, stop the movie dead and have like pop-up video. This is really quick and very blurry. If you catch it, you catch it. If you don't, you don't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't derail the story. Snaggletooth is one of my favorite characters because of one big reason. Initially, that toy was the same height as these other ones, and he had like moon boots on. And George Lucas went and said, no, we don't have moon boots in the cantina. And they redid the toy to make him smaller. And that's like my holy grail of toy. I want like a mint condition. You two actually I almost sent you guys money.
I tried, yeah.
In Star Wars Celebration, I didn't pull the trigger. I was like, I'm going to get it this year. And now Celebration probably won't happen. So,
dude, I felt like I was like at the New York Stock Exchange ready to hit purchase on something for you. We were like standing in front of a vendor at Star Wars Celebration with the Snaggletooth in the little box. You were at like a wedding or something. We're on the phone.
Was.
Do you want to pull the trigger, man?
We were literally in the process of taking pictures, the groomsmen pictures. I said I'd wait.
There's people like eyeballing us and shit too. Like, what are they gonna do? What are they about to do? Like they're about to spend like $600 on this silver toy. Like,
it was like we were on Pawn Stars.
Yeah. And then you almost made Warwick Davis fall off his Segway.
Oh yeah, my bad, Warwick.
Oh my God, that's Warwick Davis. Sorry. I mean, it feels weird to chase him down, but I mean, it's Wicket the Ewok. I'm just gonna yell to him, I think. Warwick, I love you!
Warwick, you're the best! Love you!
My bad.
I'm going to play that. I played it before. I think we did Mandalorian. I'm going to play it again.
It's so funny.
Okay, we'll get to the big thing in a second. They used the term MOOF milker, which has been heard once before by Han Solo in The Force Awakens. Again, binary load lifters, which according to what I'm reading on old Wikipedia, that's only the second time they've ever been referenced, first time they've been shown. They were
you know what they reminded me of? This is going to be an obscure reference as well. When the main characters are walking into Maz's castle in The Force Awakens, a red droid is walking towards the screen.
Yeah.
And it kind of looks like that one.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, no, damn it. I was like trying to think of like what it reminded me of. That's definitely it. The one that I was walking out of the cantina. Yeah.
Yep.
You know the stupid droid in the Genoshan droid factory that holds 3PO by the head? That's got some load lifter vibes too.
It does, yeah.
And then 2 voices. Rafa is voiced by Elizabeth Rodriguez, who's in Orange is the New Black. She's in Logan as well. Pinto. Any guesses who Pinto is voiced by?
No idea.
Ratzenberger? I have no idea.
I could try to do my SNL voice, but Bobby Moynihan.
Get out of here. Wow, good for him.
Good for
Bobby,
him.
Yeah. I was next to, when I saw The Last Jedi, I've told the story on our podcast before, I was next to in the movie Taron Killam and Kobe Smulders. And they mentioned to a friend they're like, yeah, like we're glad you make it. Like we had this extra ticket. He's like, yeah, what happened? He goes, Bobby's new to L.A. and like couldn't get here in time due to traffic or something. And I guess Bobby Moynihan missed the Last Jedi premiere because he couldn't figure out L.A. traffic or something. I don't know. I didn't ask you for the details. Yeah. So now he's in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, but one is worth the other, definitely.
All right. Let's talk about 1313.
Yes.
So this underworld area is called 1313. 1313 is an existing thing with Star Wars. It was a video game that was supposed to come out back in, I think, 2012 from LucasArts. And it was about the subterranean metropolis within Coruscant, and it was going to follow Boba Fett navigating that area. It was canned. It was canceled. It's kind of right when all the things started shifting around with LucasArts, EA, obviously the Disney merger, all that stuff. So this game got canceled, but there is gameplay footage. There is footage of what this game looked like, and it was fucking awesome. And there had been rumors and there had been discussions like, can this really work? Like, are we really ever going to get, are we ever going to get, like this to be a playable game, like to be an interesting thing other than just like, oh, we're in the underworld and this is just what it is now. I think this episode showed really well that it's expansive. There's a lot of areas. There's like an upside down area. There was a food court, laundromat. It's like you could basically do like that game or like Grand Theft Auto. You could really make it a seedy underworld type thing. But 1313, the game was canceled, and this is our first reference to it. So Filoni keeping it alive, making sure it's still a thing. I wouldn't put that to bed quite yet.
1313 is one of those things that I feel like so many hardcore Star Wars fans know what it was, wanted to see it happen. We all watched the gameplay on YouTube back in 2012. We were all bummed when it got canned. Could you imagine if at Celebration, EA announced, fuck it, we're making 1313. Even if it's not the original game, even if they're like, we're going to make our own game, we're starting from scratch, people would go nuts. I think 1313 was a great idea, and I would like to see it come to fruition.
Can you imagine a Rockstar Star Wars game? Like if they made a GTA or a Red Dead Redemption style, we were talking about that before, like a Red Dead Redemption style Mandalorian bounty hunting game, or like a GTA's themed Coruscant Underworld game. It would be so cool. All Star Wars fans really want is one really good open world game, and they haven't really been able to give that to us yet.
GTA
they did
5.
Star Wars Galaxies back in the day, right, on PC, which was open world, but that was even super popular and then got shut down, and now still people are like, can you bring back Galaxies? Just do an open world game where we could play with, a bunch of us.
They GTA 5 has that casino now. Imagine if this had a casino and you could bet on pod racing.
Do Sabacc.
Yeah, you could play Sabacc, pod racing. Holy shit. Wow. That and the horses from The Last Jedi.
Yeah, the big horses.
Father years.
Bet on the what do you call it? The robots playing football from Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, finally figure out what that is.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, 1313, that was a very pleasant surprise Easter egg. That was right up there with the Tatooine toys, because you're like, oh shit. Like, they're keeping it alive. Again, Filoni's a fan. Like, that's just what it comes in. He's just a fan. Audience questions or comments or theories. At Green Party LA, that might be Ralph Nader. Theory, Ahsoka will meet a young Force user from Lothal and his master, implying that Ahsoka's going to meet Kanan. I forget if that lines up with Rebels. Did Ahsoka knew Kanan, right? Or no?
Kanan is already a Jedi, I believe. He was an apprentice, right?
Kanan's in the trailer for this series. But I forget in Rebels, I should have looked that up. Did Kanan know Ahsoka beforehand?
I have no idea. I'm not a Rebels guy.
I don't believe that they interacted almost at all until
someone's got to answer that question.
Yeah, because remember when she got introduced as a Fulcrum or whatever, like the spy, Fulcrum. Like he didn't know, I believe, who she was.
Okay.
I don't think he was familiar.
I thought, if anything, Hera might. Okay, all right. So maybe that's the case, maybe not. Maybe she meets her and maybe they meet and they don't remember. I don't know. But it's not a bad theory. And then at AJ Camaro 124, pretty clear Ahsoka is going to end up using that ship to go to Mandalore. I agree with that. The big ship that Trace is building. Yeah. Which, by the way, that ship, here's an Easter egg. That ship is a Gazanti-class cruiser. And a Gazanti-class cruiser carries like TIE fighters and stuff. And we've seen it one time before in a real movie. All right, ready for this? Actually, we've seen it in Attack of the Clones, but the first appearance for a Gazanti-class cruiser is the scene where Qui-Gon, Jar Jar, Padme, and R2 are walking into Mos Eisley, and you see it take off behind them. And you know what happens right after it takes off? Jar Jar steps in poop.
Jar Jar steps in poop. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
The only time we've seen that
what a
shit
moment.
in live action, at least the first time we've seen it, the main time, Jar Jar steps in shit right after we see it.
What a shitty moment.
Ooh.
Ha ha.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Final thoughts. Any last thoughts? When do we think she's going to go to Mandalore? It's got to be soon. We're running out of episodes. How many episodes do we have?
I don't know. We have three more in this arc, and then I think 4 more after that.
Okay, I think. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It is 12. It's 12.
So is she? Do you think she's meeting Maul in this arc or the next one?
I think probably the tail end of this one.
Okay.
I think we'll get more 13-13.
Yeah,
sure.
I would like
We
to
need
see
to.
more 13-13. Actually, I liked this episode because pretty much always I like narratives where Beast is unleashed on City, and we have to like contain.
Yeah.
I think that's always fun. So I thought this was fun. I like the episode of Clone Wars where they have like the kaiju comes out and starts destroying the city. I think that's awesome.
I think we're
I like
open-
this episode. I'm looking forward to the rest of this arc.
We're open to Cad Bane and Boba Fett as well, I think, now with 13.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What happened the one time, I think in maybe like the 3rd season of Clone Wars, where like the Zillo monster got unleashed on Coruscant? Coruscant is constantly under siege by weird monsters and robots.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for a big city, not a great place. It's just not a
Awful
great
place
spot.
to live.
For
Yeah.
every
We could be
reason.
speaking about New York right now as well.
That's true. We just
Make sure you self Palpatine.
Mark Hamill had a good tweet yesterday when he said Luke was the original self-isolator. Get off my island. I like that.
Well, that's Owen Lars. Owen Lars and Aunt Beru. They big on social distancing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can't go hang out with Big. Stay home, you bitch. All right. Fuck Owen Lars and Klieg.
Yeah.
Who's worse, Klieg or Owen?
Klieg stinks.
Yeah, I was gonna say Klieg.
Yeah,
Klieg
Klieg's
for
pretty
sure.
Yeah.
Klieg.
Floating
Get
around
outta
like an
here.
asshole.
What a horrible name, Klieg Lars. Ugh.
I don't believe for a second he went back out to find Shmi. I don't believe it for a
No
second.
way.
Oh no,
No way.
absolutely not. No chance in hell. What was he gonna do?
In his little
Just
chair.
float-
Get out of
Yeah,
here.
float after them. Fuck you.
He peeked over that like hole and he's like, Shmi. He's like, nah, I don't think she's
She
coming back.
must be gone.
She didn't make it.
Lost to the Raiders.
All right. Thank you. That was good. Make sure if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. We're going to be actually watching live Attack of the Clones on YouTube Sunday night, which is the 22nd, Sunday night 22nd. On this channel, we're watching Attack of the Clones, some other guests as well. That I'm excited for. Phantom Menace was fun, right? Attack of the
Yeah.
Clones, you can really pick
Yes.
apart and dive into
Yeah.
some weird shit. So we'll be doing that. Make sure to hit subscribe, hit the bell icon, and comment below what you thought about the episode and where you think it's going next. When do we see Maul? Do we see Maul soon, or do we see it after this arc? Let us know below. We'll be having another one of these a week from now, and on Monday, episode breakdown of Westworld, Season 3, Episode 2. That's it. Stay safe, everyone. Wash your fucking hands. For Robbie and KenJac, I'm Jeff Lowe. Talk to you next time.